Hi guys, Chris from Dragon's Gate here. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you know the exact volume of your pond? You might be asking yourself, well, why is that? Why should I care, Chris? Well, knowing the exact volume of your pond in gallons is important because if you ever need to medicate your fish, it's important to get the right dose. Little Teth here wants to go for a swim. It's hot outside today. But as I was saying before, knowing the exact gallonage of your pond is very important. You don't want to underdose your pond, and you also don't want to overdose your pond. You want your medications to be effective, while at the same time not overdosing and killing your fish. So a lot of you guys have ecosystem ponds just like this one, with rock bottoms, rocks everywhere. And they're usually in odd shapes like this. So finding the exact gallonage of your pond can be quite difficult. Now, if you have a traditional traditional style koi pond, square, bare liner, very easy to calculate that. Length times width times depth times 7.48. That's the formula for that. Now, I'm going to show you guys a quick and easy way to calculate the gallonage of your pond if you have just a natural style, oddly shaped pond like this. And the only thing you're going to need is salt and a salinity reader, which you can purchase on Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll cut to the next scene where I'll have all my supplies and I'll show you guys exactly how to do it and the formula that you need to use. All right, guys, so I have a few things here. This is probably the most important tool right here. This is a salinity reader. You can get this on Amazon. It's like 30 bucks. It's relatively cheap and it's super, every koi keeper should have this in their arsenal, okay? So we have this, we have a scale and a bowl, all right? And this is the salt. So this is just standard water softener salt with no additives. You can get this at Home Depot, Lowe's, Sam's Club, Costco. They're like $8 a piece, not very expensive. And this is also something every koi keeper should have in their arsenal. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and turn this scale on, and we're going to measure out 10 pounds of salt. So a rule of thumb is that to raise the salinity by 0.1%, you add 1 pound of salt per 100 gallons. Okay, we're going to use this calculation in order to calculate the volume of that ecosystem pond that we have outside. So we're going to go ahead and measure out 10 pounds of salt, and I will get back to you in a second. All right, guys, so we're back out at the pond here. I've got my salinity reader here, so this is very important. We're going to use this to get a baseline measurement for the amount of salt in our pond currently. So we're going to go ahead and dip it in the water. And it is reading exactly 0. So we have no salt in the water at all. This is good. So now we're going to go ahead and add our 10 pounds of salt, and we can use that difference to calculate the... So I've got our 10 pounds of salt here. Now, it's an important thing to note when you're pouring salt in the pond that you disperse it evenly across the pond. One, it will help the salt dissolve much faster that way, instead of having it all in one pile. And also, if your fish swim by it, they likely won't settle on a giant mountain of salt, which could potentially hurt them. Now, salt inherently is not hurtful to the fish. It's actually very therapeutic to them, but it's not something you want in your pond all the time. Additional thing to note is if you have salt-sensitive plants, it's best to remove those unless you plan on doing a water change immediately afterwards, which I'm sure many of you don't want to do. Either way, you'll still have salt in your pond, and the only way to get it out is by doing a water change. So keep that in mind. So we're going to go ahead and pour the salt across the edge of this pond, and once we do that, we will wait a few hours, and we will get our second reading, and then we can calculate our exact volume. So I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. Also make sure there's no koi underneath the salt when you're pouring it. You don't want it to land on them. That would be not good. gosh, that's a fish cave. Awesome. So now that the salt is currently in the pond, let's wait a few hours and then we can get our second reading. All right, so we're back out here at the pond. I've got my salinity reader. It's been about 3 hours since we put the 10 pounds of salt in the pond. I'm gonna go ahead and get this reading, and then we can use that new reading to calculate the volume. So let's do this. All right. It is at 420 ppm. So let's go ahead and go inside and do a little math. All right, guys, so here's the formula, okay? Gallons of your pond equals pounds of salt times 100 over the percentage difference, okay? So if you're reading your salinity reader in the ppm format, let's just use an example. 2000 ppm is equivalent to 0.2% salinity, okay? Now, for the formula, we're going to use 0.2% and just plug in 2. So you're basically moving the decimal place over 3 points, okay? So let's use this example and measure our pond, okay? So gallons equals, we use 10 pounds of salt, all right? Multiply that by 100, so that's 1,000. Over the percentage difference, okay? So our percentage was 420 ppm. Sorry about that. All right, so we put in 10 pounds of salt. Sorry about that, our dog went crazy a little bit. 10 pounds of salt, multiply that by 100. Now, our salinity reader read 0.042, okay? So what that equates to, or 420 ppm, so what that equates to is, we move the decimal place over, right? So if it's 0,420 ppm, we're gonna move the decimal place over 3 spots, so it'll be 0.42. So when we calculate it out, it's 1,000 divided by 0.42. That's 2381 gallons if we round up. Now, the reason why I like to use ppm instead of percentage is because the salinity reader will round up or down, and it'll add some variance in your calculations. So if it rounded down to 0.4 or 0.04%, okay, so that's 10 by 100, oops, okay, divided by, in the formula, that's 0.4. That would equal 2,500 gallons exactly. All right, so there's 120 gallon difference there, just because you use the correct measurement. So this is good for a ballpark estimate, but if you want a more granular estimate of your pond volume, you want to use ppm. Okay, and this is percentage. So fairly simple, very easy formula, and I hope it works out for you guys. Okay, so as you can see, calculating the volume of your pond is not a difficult thing to do, but it is a very important thing to do, especially when it comes to medications. You don't want to underdose and have your medication be ineffective, and you also don't want to overdose and kill your fish. When it comes to medications, we have plenty on our website, dragonsgatekoiusa.com. If you're experiencing any issues, or if your fish are experiencing any issues, don't hesitate to email us at dragonsgatekoiusa@gmail.com, and we can assist you as best we can and point you in the right direction for any proposed medications. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and yeah, best of luck to all you koi keepers out there.